Welcome back to the Money Hill. Taking you right into Major 4, the Columbus Major, after OpTic finished the stage perfect. We have 4 teams coming in at 4-1, and Ultra fall short yet again against Vegas Legion. Apologies. I need to put $5 in the jar every time I say that. I am, of course, Scoot, back with Nikita while our big money guy takes a big break. It's a pleasure to have you back. I mean, you were pretty right last week, so can't discredit that at all. Besides the Atlanta Faze match, you were good. It was
a good week to kind of step in. I loved seeing Ultra get beaten. That was always just delightful. Fortunately, BMB is not around to get upset about it, but I take heart knowing that once he does get back, he will be cut up about it.
1-4.
Few teams that it's great to see at the top of standings. Few teams not so great.
Well, I mean, the big one there is Ultra, right? 1-4, whatever. I guess we can talk about that one first since it happened first. I'm going to rearrange the order a little bit here and flip the script on you. That was a hilarious loss to Legion.
Yeah.
It's one of the funniest losses ever. A lot of stuff happened in that series, right? Regardless of what happens, we end up in a map 5.
Yeah.
It's exactly what you want if you're a COD fan. You've got Standy going up against his former team with his new team. They're actually vibing really well. He shoots bodies to go up 5-1 after clutching a 1v2. Vegas throw the 5-1 lead. They lose 4 rounds in a row. So then every COD fan is rewarded again. You get a round 11. It's perfect.
So good.
Legion pull out the streak. They pull out Temp's cruise missile. And apparently this is Standy's call too. He said in the interview after the game, they go straight up the middle on Hotel and just body Ultra in the round 11 after they're on this flame comeback, right? They're doing super well. And then Scrap, after the series, after they lose to Legion, posts what is probably top 5 saltiest, if not the saltiest tweet after a series. GG's LV, those guys are a championship caliber team, double exclamation point there. Can't wait to see them play at Major 4. That one is not deleted. So if we get that matchup, expect some fire.
I mean, there's already a lot of fire. There were big words coming out of Scrappy. A lot of shit talking about how Standy's not a good teammate, only does things for himself. Standy gets the win on a bottom barrel team. Let's not pretend Legion is not a budget bottom barrel team, has been for the last few years. So the fact that Priestahh has managed to join this team, take this group of essential misfits, obviously TJ, who big names, very successful, but nonetheless
misfits. That's a good word.
Now grab Standy and beat his old team. Big.
There's a lot of drama. I mean, it's a really good story.
It's a great story.
If God, I hope this happens. If Legion can win a major this year, I will lose my gourd. And if they win champs, I don't know what I'll do, but we'll get there when they. By the way, they are in now, currently. Yeah. They took over Røkkr's spot.
And they deserve it.
So they are in top 8. They're set for champs at the moment.
Also,
they do.
Just by the way,
they made a really good bounce back.
Also, breaking news, champs is in Vegas. You know who should be?
Champs is in Vegas.
Who
it's a
just
home
moved
major.
to the Vegas, city of sin? The Vegas Legion. It's writing itself. It's writing itself.
You're right that people knew their roster 3 months before they ever tweeted about it, because I'm pretty sure they didn't have a social media guy for however long in the off season. It's a ridiculous organization.
They didn't tweet for months. Other teams were even tweeting at them.
Yeah, you still there? The Florida Mutineers tweet, I think, is the one that stands out, because they're obviously super active on social media, regardless of their record for some reason. It's just such an interesting spot that we're in now, and I love that Legion are good. I think it's only good for the scene. Now, let's talk about best in show this stage. Of course, OpTic Texas coming in with an 8-0 hardpoint record, finishing the stage off 5-0 total record. They look good in every game mode, but exceptional in a hardpoint. That's essentially why they won every series. There was nothing that went 3-2. I think they've left very little doubt in their results that they're the best team right now. But it is really interesting to analyze this Breach series and talk about Breach on the back of it a little bit because of how it went down. The key point here is that OpTic are obviously fantastic. They're the favorite to win the major, right?
Flawless.
Anything less than winning. Yeah. Anything less than winning now currently, especially because COD fans are super hyphy about shit like this. Anything less than winning feels like a failure. And that's insane, in my opinion. I think top 3 is the mark for them currently. For any great team, it's the mark to make top 3 every major. However, Breach, on the back of this, start converting your slang. They outslayed OpTic in that series, they've outslayed a lot of teams, but they're not doing anything with it. Everybody on OpTic was negative outside of Dashy. It was a Dashy masterclass on that end. But what are you doing if you're Boston Breach? And you put yourself in a rough position, too, because now you have to match up against them round 1 on LAN.
KD doesn't win series. You know?
It doesn't.
It doesn't. And that's all that really matters at the end of the day, is that you can be great at slaying, but if you don't know how to convert that into objective control, it doesn't mean anything. I don't think more can be really said than that. You nailed it. They slay, they don't convert. And this has been a problem, I feel, for like long enough that I always like to contrast teams. I always think it's like storylines of teams. You have a team like Thieves that had problems, and it was clear they had issues, and then they've slowly worked on them, and you can see the trajectory of them getting better and better and better. Teams like Røkkr and Breach, stagnant. Nothing new.
Yeah, I feel like with a team like Breach especially, like Røkkr doesn't have the slaying power that Breach has currently. Obviously, I think Bance is a key problem kind of there currently, and I expect him to return to form at some point, but it's not happening right now. But you do sit there and wait for like that game where you see it all come together. Like they start converting those kills and those 2 pieces and 3 pieces into objective control and into like moving around the map fluidly, but you just sit and wait. Like, that's all you're doing. And I think I agree with you. Like, it's been stagnant like that for a while. We know this team can run over some teams. Mm-hmm. But when are they going to run over a top 4 team? Like, when is that going to happen?
Yeah.
Who knows the story of that one? We also, interestingly enough, this stage, it's a pretty rare thing, I think, that happened. We had 4 teams come in at 4-1, which has now put Vegas Legion at the 5 spot with a 4-1 record. Not something that you would expect if you're them, to be honest. I think a lot of this comes on the back of OpTic going 5-0 and also Ultra going 1-4.
Yep.
Because you would expect it to schedule like to level out a little bit, and a lot of teams coming at 3-2. Who's the best and who is the worst of the 4-1 teams this stage?
Okay, so the best is definitely Thieves. I think that's like head and shoulders above. I appreciate you throwing it to me because you also said that in our pre-episode chat. So it's like, but it's an obvious statement. I think they're definitely the best team, and they look the cleanest, and I think the biggest threat after OpTic. After that, I actually don't know. Because in a weird way, even though the Surge and Subliners look like they're coming back into form, they've been so inconsistent that I find that when they have a positive streak like this, I don't necessarily, like, I worry that it's going to be followed up by a bad streak.
I mean, we've seen the worst of Surge at points this year, and we've seen a pretty bad New York for a couple stages.
It's been so bad. Weren't they like 1-4 last major in the qualifiers?
Yeah, maybe 0-5. I'm pretty sure it was 1-4.
Yeah, that's my point. So we've gone like 0-5, horrendous, to then now we're doing a 4-1. And my problem is like, where does the flip happen? Does the flip happen from online to LAN to online, or does it happen major to major?
Could really be anything at this point.
You know what I mean? Like, so on the one hand, I kind of want to point to them being the weakest, and you're probably like, well, why do you put Legion above them? Just because I think they're more consistent, and I value consistency.
They've consistently gotten better.
Exactly, and so
they've consistently gotten better.
I value, and I know BNB is like grinding his teeth right now, but I value a consistent team over a team that has like a brief peak and then lows and peaks and lows.
It's like if the pH water in their locker rooms, the pH of the water in their locker rooms changes. Yeah. Like they're gonna be good that day, exactly. Or like you really don't know what the variables are.
The humidity has to be at the right percentage, and then they destroy everyone.
Excuse me, that venue was too hot.
I think I say it's Surge or Subliners, but it's tricky because I didn't expect Subliners to 3-0 breach.
No, I didn't expect that either.
Or Surge, by the way, or Surge 3-0ing Faze. That's the other one that's wild.
No, there's a couple of like weird results in there where you're like, okay, now they're good.
Yeah.
Listen, goes without saying, you would have to be insane not to say that LA Thieves are the best 4-1 team. The only team they lost to this stage was OpTic.
Yep.
It was a 3-0, but it was relatively close. The other terrifying thing there is that they're only a better team on LAN. We know their struggles with like connection and like servers and everything online and how much they like hate playing online. they only get better in front of a crowd. Like that has been the story this entire time with LA Thieves. They had their problems last major off the game, which I think affected them mentally a lot. But I don't expect that to happen again. We're going to see a Thieves masterclass in the upper bracket, I would say, a little bit. It's going to be really fun to watch them play OpTic if they both end up there. Worst team.
Who you got?
And I continue to doubt them every week. New York Subliners.
Yep. All right.
I got to agree with you. I mean, the consistency that we've seen from Vegas is enough for me to be like, okay, they're getting better slowly over time.
Yeah.
And that's really what you want to see. Like, that's the number one thing. It's also why, Vegas is winning champs. I continue to doubt them for some reason. I don't know if it's that I hate their logo or just like the way their roster is composed. I will never doubt Skyz and HyDra. I think they're unbelievable players. My doubt creeps in with Priestahh, and I think for them to win another major, he's going to have to put on another LAN masterclass like he did in Major 1.
Yeah.
And until you see that level again, and I don't think he's breached those levels, I'm not willing to say that they're one of the best teams to come out 4-1. I think they had good online qualifiers, but it still worries me on LAN.
I think actually both teams have the same issue, is that they have basically one superstar player, a great second choice player, and then you have two players where you have question marks.
Yeah, big question marks.
And that's the real issue. Sorry, just before we jump in, I'm shocked you haven't brought this up. One question, what's going on with Faze?
The moral of the story here. The interesting thing is, we always say what's going on with Faze, and then it's just 3-2. Like, it's every stage. It's going to happen.
But they're sitting in 6th place, so you're kind of like, whoa, that's a really bad. But I guess that's a byproduct of the 4-1.
But what did they do? They went 3-2.
Yeah.
They're the only team to go 3-2,
true.
by the way.
Okay, fair enough.
So who's gonna do it if nobody else?
Yeah.
It's gonna be Faze every time, and then they show up to LAN. They're a better team. It's ridiculous behavior.
Okay.
I don't know what's going on with them. Their Search and Destroy still looks really good, but like Slasher's got to step it up in hardpoint. Ever since he made that comment about LA Thieves, it's been a little bit downhill. Yeah, I don't know. Like, we'll see when we get to LAN. At this point, I'm willing to chalk it all.
Okay.
Like, we'll see what happens with Faze when we get to LAN. Let's get into the betting, man. It is a hell of a major that we've got lined up here. We got futures. It's of course a major. We got to talk about it a little bit. I think my favorites here. I'll say that OpTic Texas at 2.5 is kind of a waste of capital. I think they will win it, but I think it's a little bit of a throwaway considering the variability that we have in this game. LA Thieves at 4.0 odds is very good, in my opinion.
I love that. I really, really like that.
I think Surge at 6.0 is also very solid considering how well we've seen this team play on LAN at points, especially last year. And then finally, Vegas Legion at 34 odds cannot be ignored by any means. They have 2 shots at this. Like, they have 2 lives. You're never going to see an upper bracket team pull those odds, realistically.
No, that's
often.
actually, it's just ridiculous. You got to put something on them. They've also been showing, like I said, continual improvement, and I'm a big believer in that you almost need to disregard data that's too far out. It's the most recent one that is the most important. So for me, not a big believer in Ultra at the moment because they just have been looking worse and worse. Whereas someone like the Legion, who are just continually improving and also at a steady clip. This is the important thing, is that they're reliable. Throwing money on someone like the Surge or Subliners, if the odds were good, sure, but it's a bit of a crapshoot. Whereas with the Legion, do I think it's going to be a clean sweep of 3-0s the whole way? No. But do I think that they have shown that they can win 3-1, 3-2, come clutch round 11? Yes. And a lot to be said for having that hunger to like kind of prove people wrong. And I think this team has it.
Listen, if there's a player that can also pull this off and lead a team in such a way from like being downtrodden, it's Clayster.
Yes.
Like, without a doubt. It is Clayster. He's done this before. That's the thing that people forget. All right. Goes without saying, great odds there. Any other futures you want to shout out? I feel like Atlanta Faze at 4.5 is always worth a shout, but like I don't really want to take it. I feel like they're going to come in second.
The problem with taking too many of these 4 point something odds.
Yeah, it's not worth.
Look, if it's your team, take them because they're your team and you like them. But if not, I much prefer going for something like the Legion and hoping that 34 hits.
Yeah, that would be a hell of a ride.
Yeah.
All right, like, love, lock. We've only got 4 matches. We can talk about, there's not many picks in there. Obviously, we're gonna have some similar stuff to say. Kicks off with LA Thieves versus Minnesota Røkkr to start the day on Thursday, followed up by New York Subliners versus Vegas Legion, which I think is actually a really good match. Then final 2 matches rounding out the day: OpTic Texas versus Boston Breach, and finally Seattle Surge versus Atlanta Faze. I'm going to throw a like out here. I only have one of each this week, and one of them is absolutely absurd. LA Thieves, -1.5 over Minnesota Røkkr at 1.5 odds, I think is pretty much a lock. I'm just throwing it in as a like because it's a -1.5. It's land. Sometimes stuff gets weird. And I also don't love the odds there. I think 1.5 is not great, in my opinion.
Look, it's just to say, it's a 1.58, so you're getting close to 1.6. I agree. I was thinking of taking the -2.5 at 3.1.
That's not terrible either. I mean, they just did that.
Because I think 3.1, the odds, I like the odds better on at 3.1 than I do the 1.58. I think they're more in line with what it should be. So I would put maybe like a half unit, a unit on that. I never like putting too much on it. But at the same time, look, we finished off the qualifiers with 4 back-to-back 3-0s.
We did. I will say, I put one stipulation on this match. It is if Røkkr decide to bring back Attach, I think it could get a little odd in terms of like how this series plays out. Yeah. So like maybe the 3-0 isn't guaranteed at that point, but current standings, I would agree. I think this is probably a LA Thieves 3-0.
Yeah.
Goes without saying. Second match of the day, Legion, New York. You got anything? I do.
Go for it.
Of course. This is my lock. Legion over New York Subliners, 2.62. They're going to put them away immediately.
Yeah.
They're going to get over that hump, and that's where they start to get hot.
I think just taking straight up money line is worth it. I would shop around because I think you can get even better odds than that.
If you can, please fill me in.
I've got a 2.88.
Okay, that's incredible. We like that. I like that a lot.
It's a significant boost. I actually also really like, and I would probably put this as a lock, the +1.5 on Legion at 2.1.
2.1. Yeah, that's pretty solid. I mean, it goes. You're protected from the loss.
Exactly.
There too.
Yeah.
3-2 loss.
I do think this goes 3-1, 3-2. I'm leaning towards Legion, partially just because I like the storyline. You're really rooting for a 3-2 finish. Because if you get the +1.5 and the money line, you could either make a lot of money or just, cover yourself a bit and make a bit of money. So that's what stands out to me.
Here's how this goes. They place top 6.
Yeah.
Then they place top 4. And then they win champs.
It's predicted.
It is written. That's what everybody needs.
Yep.
This is what we need. This is what it's not about what you want. This is what you need if you like the scene. Final pick of the week. Throw my love out there. Third match of the day. OpTic Texas -1.5 over Boston Breach, I think is solid at 1.8. Goes without saying. I mean, there hasn't been a match that's gone 3-2.
Yep.
And I expect OpTic to win this. I expect them to stay very good at hardpoint. The Beans S&D situation freaks me out a little bit, but I don't think it gets to 5. So I think we're good there.
I'm shocked though. You're so cautious about this because I'm like, I would have thought you would have taken the -2.5 at 3.76. OpTic just went 5-0. They're looking incredible. They also just beat a team that outslayed the whole team apart from Dashy, which I think is it's great to see that they can play from the kind of like that position of weakness, but also they know how to overcome it. So I'm like, I'm bullish on the -1.5. I'm on the -2.5. I also want to look at taking individual map lines. They're terrible at the moment on OpTic, but I think
the hard point's got to be awful.
Yeah, hardpoint is awful.
It would also be nice if somebody. It would also be nice if somebody that was watching the video left a like and subscribe. That would be amazing.
Oh, yeah. That would be good.
And that's how you convert viewers in the middle of a video. If you need a guide, other game modes What do I think? I think they're extremely inconsistent in control.
Yeah.
However, decent at it.
S&D.
But all their matches have been very close. S&D they're better at. I think you got to look at the maps and modes for that one, or maps
I agree.
specifically for S&D.
So just a shout out. I'm not sure. I haven't really dug into this, and I think a big part of it is going to be maps, picks and bans. So right maps, you want to jump on this quick, but you can get, so for map 2, -1.5, 1.86 on OpTic, and then on the flip side on control map 3, you can get a -1.5 for breach at a 2.82.
I actually don't hate that.
That's
at
what
all.
I was saying.
It's LAN. They're very inconsistent on it. I expect them to be good at hardpoint, obviously.
Yes.
If you see Fortress control or Fortress hardpoint, that could get a little odd because they haven't played in a while because nobody will play them on it. But if you see LSCLO, or not LSCLO, sorry, Mercado, they're going to stomp whoever they're playing. So, I mean, you might as well take the handicap at that point.
Yeah, I think
it's almost a lock.
There's something there that can be pretty good. Do you have anything for the last match of the day?
I don't, but I actually think I should because
the odds are juicy. Both sides.
Yeah, they are juicy.
I'm taking the Surge 2.17.
2.1. I got 2.3.
2.3 is, yeah, I'm 100% taking that. Because, I don't know, Surge are looking good. They seem hot, so I'm gonna hope that the ride continues and that they take this into a round 1 win.
I'm gonna ride differently here.
Okay.
I'm gonna take Atlanta Faze -1.5.
Ooh.
2.6 odds.
Okay.
I think extremely solid. I expect them to actually show up on LAN again. Like I think Slasher will play better. I don't know if he'll be like really good at hardpoint or control now.
Yep.
But I think he'll play better, and I think that will only enable the subs to get more in your face. aBeZy's having an MVP caliber season. I think he's a danger to Pred, but Pred's also a danger to everybody. So it kind of balances itself out. It's going to be a very, very fun series to watch, and it's a really good way to round out day 1, which is also a really good way to round out this video, I would say.
I think so.
And with that being said, thank you for listening to another episode of The Money Hill. If you enjoyed, you can join our Discord, join the conversation. There will be a lot of that firing this weekend, I would expect. You can expect some shorts to pop out after day 1 as well. But we really appreciate all the viewers, and hope you have a great week.
Bye, everyone.
Peace out.